Hello and welcome to Three Questions With. I got my friend Lydia with us from Lydia Graham Virtual Marketing. Hey Lydia, welcome to the show.
Hi, how are you today?
Just living the dream, my friend.
Living the dream. My husband says it all the time. We actually have a plaque on the wall.
So it's good to see we share good company then. Why don't we start at the beginning? Just give us a little bit of an overview of your company. What do you do?
So in 2016, I started doing freelance work for marketing because my husband and I at the time had a company together. And I did the website and I literally went out and online and I started just building things on my own through tutorials on YouTube. And I loved it. I fell in love with it. So I decided, fast forward, we moved to Connecticut in 2017, right at the end of 2017. And I started working as a temp in the beginning of 2018 and found myself like really bored going through the same routine of starting over again. So my husband and I decided that I would go back to school and do what I love, which is digital marketing. I learned how to create a WordPress website on my own. I'm not saying that I did everything right, because when you do things on your own, you do learn through tutorials the mistakes you made. But I think that you also you learn, if you know what I mean, because you're doing it on your own and because you are sort of out there like, flapping around. And I found that to be a really good experience for me. So I started my own digital marketing agency, not just because I learned how to build a website, but because I loved everything that the digital space had to offer when it comes to learning and the growth that you can have as a marketer. And I got my degree in it as well. So I do everything from website development and design. I also know how to code HTML and CSS. I also do search engine optimization, which is part of web development. I also do the content creating, copywriting, anything that that has to do with online advertising and marketing. I also build social media pages, create content for that. I work mainly with Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn because I feel like I have the strongest with those. I do very well with those.
So one of the things you mentioned was content creation. And I see a lot of small business owners, we struggle in this area because someone tells us we need a blog or we need to have content on our Facebook and Instagram. And we go, I don't know how to do that. I don't know what to write. I don't know what my audience is interested in. So you can help people kind of develop what they should be saying.
The first thing I wanted to say to that, for people out there, is that we all struggle, including myself. So I want people to know that we're all in the same boat. When it comes to content creating, I have created content that gets high engagement. So I'll reshare it the next week and all of a sudden the engagement's not the same. So it gets frustrating. But for those that have a hard time even coming up with ideas, what I do, and that's where I come into play. I love helping people create ideas. I've had people sit across me and we're kind of like spitting things out. Sometimes what I think you need is that you need someone to sit across from and say, what do you think about this? Because two minds, first of all, work better than one. And sometimes we all get stuck. In regards to what you were saying earlier, with just throwing things up just to throw things up, that's not a great idea. It's always good to think like the consumer or the client when you go to your own page or you go to your own website. Think of what you want them to take away when they come to your space. So that's how I do it. And that's the key word strategies that I use and everything like that is thinking like the client. They are seeing a lot of stuff in their feed. People in general, we see things online every day. We're scrolling through. So what's going to make them stop and look? We have to think so for me, it's business to business. And I have to think of what another company is looking for when they're looking for a digital marketing professional. A lot of people today that are changing to the remote space, we have to think of how that could be a little bit of a scary thing. So, we have to think of the client, how they're thinking of when they're looking for different things online. And so when we're putting the content out there, put it out there. Yes, I have three different strategies. One is for educational purposes, educating you on what I do. That's from my perspective. Educating you on what I do, who I am, and why I do it. Then I have another one that's just for fun, sort of like fun videos that kind of get your attention. And then I have one where I'm really thinking of the strategy, again, I'm coming from the client's perspective, meaning it's going to be something that they're looking for. So it'll say something like, are you looking for SEO? Are you looking for a web developer? are you looking for a coder? And then I use those keywords or hashtags that say, web developer, because I want them to come to the page or wherever they're looking for. And when they put in those searches, I come up because that's what they're searching for. We have to think of everything that we do now as a search engine, even if it's not on Google. So when you're on Facebook, when you're wherever you are, that's a search engine today. YouTube has become the second largest search engine in America for videos, for things like this that you're doing right here, because people are using it in a different way. And that's been within the last 5 to 6 years, I've seen it change. So we have to think like the consumer and write things that are engaging based on what they're looking for, not what we think they're looking for. And that's conversations. Yep. That's conversations with your consumers, finding out what they want.
So Lydia, what's the best way for people to reach out to you? How can they learn more?
So the best way to reach out to me is through my informational website, and also through my phone number, which is 203-701-9115, or my email address, algraham@virtualllp.com.
Awesome. Appreciate you taking a couple minutes to come on the show. And as always, thanks for being my friend.
Thank you very much for having me.